Oh, besides fighting with my camera for far too long. We're back. What are you doing? Oh, you found a ball. We don't play ball in this house when we're in this room. Alright, my stress is up. I need to calm down. So we're gonna play. June 21st, 9:48 a.m. District Court Defendant Lobby, number 3. What? Prosecutor Von Karma? You mean... No. I heard it's a successor this time. Successor? Manfred Von Karma was a really sinister man. He pulled all sorts of nasty tricks, all so he could win. He was a man obsessed with the word perfection. He had a perfect record for 40 long years. Who knows what sort of dirty tricks he used to get each of those guilty verdicts. And now his successor. I wonder what kind of person they will turn out to be. It's no good. Mystic Maya. Pearly! You showed up! Thanks for coming all this way. I was really worried about you. Hey, where's your mother? Didn't you two come together? Mother is watching over the trainees. She said they have training for 2 days straight with no breaks. Huh? Then you came all by yourself? Yep. I snuck out of the manor and followed a map. Don't tell me you walked all the way here. Of course not. I ran. I can't, oh my. If it takes 2 hours by train, oh man. Hurley, what about the train? Huh? What's a train? I give up. It's time, isn't it? I'm really scared. What if Von Karma tries to do something to me? At least I know Mr. Edgeworth would be nicer to me than Von Karma. Mr. Edgeworth? Who's that? He's Nick's rival. Well, he's also a friend. I finally feel like I've been wondering why she calls him Nick's, and I guess it's just from Phoenix. That's the only thing I can think of.
Objection!
I still remember him as though I'd seen him only yesterday.
Objection!
Every trial was a scorchingly fierce battle until the very end.
Objection! Objection!
It was always back and forth with them. But when you're rivals for life... Maya, please don't mention that name ever again. Huh? But why, Nick? I'm sorry, Maya, I forgot you don't know. He's gone, and he's not coming back. What? Wait a second. What's that supposed to mean? Court will now commence shortly. Please proceed into the courtroom. Let's go. Now's not the time to talk about that anyway. Nick? June 21st, 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 2. Court is now in session for the trial of Maya Fey. Are the prosecutions and the defense prepared? What is this with this kid? Ahem, Mr. Wright, are you prepared, huh? Yes, Your Honor. Why does he always seem mad at me? Mr. Phoenix Wright. You must be a little shocked because I am a woman, correct? Hold on. So she's the famed successor to the prosecutor Von Karma? I am Franziska Von Karma, the prodigy. Franziska? I see. I gave up a promising career in Germany and came to this country for one sole reason. Revenge. Is this about her father, Manfred Von Karma? If it's something of a personal nature, I'm sure you can... Ow! I'm talking. If you interrupt again, my whip will do the speaking for me. Please speak with your mouth like a normal person, I beg of you. Yow! Make no mistakes, I will defeat you. Prepare to go down, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Prosecutor Von Karma, your opening statement, please. Those of Von Karma blood have only one fate, and that is perfection. The defendant, Maya Fey, will find no escape from her guilt on my watch. Very well. What is the defense's position? Your Honor, did the defense wish to enter a plea of not guilty? Yes. Foolish fool who foolishly dreams of foolish dreams. 10 minutes. I give the defense 10 minutes before it changes its plea. That's right, I'll have you running for the justified self-defense plea in no time. Justified self-defense. A plea usually reserved for when a person unintentionally kills in defense of themselves. We could very easily make a solid case that it was self-defense, but... The defense stands by the plea of not guilty, Your Honor. Because to plead justified self-defense is to say you did kill someone. How foolish. If that's how you want to play it, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Then I shall now call the first witness. She's just as scary as her father, like daughter, I suppose. Hello, Harley. Detective Gumshoe, we meet again. Witness, your name and occupation. Yes, sir. My name is Dick Gumshoe. I'm a detective at the local precinct. Ah. Get to the point already. Explain to the court the details of this murder. Yes, sir. If everyone would please take a look at this map. The channeling chamber has no windows and the door was locked shut. At the time of the murder, only the victim and the defendant were in the room. What were they doing in there? They were channeling a spirit, sir. Channeling a spirit? That's quite the look of disbelief there, Your Honor. Ahem. Anyway, a few minutes after this channeling started, gunshots were heard coming from inside the room, sir. A few of the witnesses broke the door down and rushed into the room. And that's when they found that the victim was already dead, correct? Yep. I believe this is one of the most open and shut cases I have ever presided over. Court plans added to the court record. So how was the victim killed? I was about to get to that. Stop wasting my time, then. The direct cause of death was a pistol shot to the forehead, sir. The shot was fired from point-blank range. But before the victim was shot, sir, he was stabbed in the chest. The wound was very severe, but not enough to cause instantaneous death. The murderer used the pistol to finish the victim off after the stabbing. So the victim was stabbed before being shot. This is the victim's autopsy report, sir. Autopsy report added to the court record. After being stabbed in the chest, he was shot in the forehead at point blank. The court accepts it into evidence. Mr. Wright, you may question the witness. Cause of death. The murder weapon, Detective Gumshoe. Whose pistol was it? It was the victim's. The victim? Now, why would he have...
Objection!
Why would he have a pistol? Who cares? The point that you are missing is whose fingerprints are on that pistol. If you're not already paying attention to that, then I suggest you start. Fingerprints? There were fingerprints? Along with the victims. The defendant, Maya Fays, were also on the crypt, sir. So the defendant's fingerprints were left on the murder weapon. Ugh, I walked right into her hands there. The shot was fired from point-blank range. Point blank, huh? So about how far away is that? It's anywhere between 12 to 20 inches away. And how do you know he was shot at point blank? Tisk, tisk, tisk. Mr. Phoenix Wright. I grow tired of foolish foolery of the foolish fools of this foolish country. Excuse me. Gunpowder burn. Gunpowder burn? When something is shot from point blank, a burn area is left around the bullet hole. Gunpowder exploding is what makes a bullet fire, and that gets real hot, pal. And there were definitely some gunpowder burns left on the victim's forehead. Wow, never knew that. Live and learn, I guess. He was stabbed in the chest. Stabbed? And what was he stabbed with? A fruit knife. I see, and whose knife was it? It looks like it belongs to the Fays, sir. And of course, Maya Faye's fingerprints are all over it. All over it, huh? This does not look good. What will you do now, Mr. Phoenix Wright? How severe was the wound? If it had been half an inch more to the right, it would have hit the victim's heart. After a stab like that, it's impossible to fight back, let alone stand. This testimony makes it sound like Maya had stabbed him with the intent to kill. The murderer used the pistol to finish the victim off after the stabbing. Are you sure he was stabbed first, then shot? Yep, sure can be. One look at the wounds and you'd come to the same conclusion, pal. A fool is a fool who will only listen to the foolish opinions of the other foolish fools. A pistol shot to the forehead at point blank is certainly enough to kill instantly. Does it matter then which was first? a little more before you open that big mouth of yours, Mr. Phoenix Wright. What a pain. That's enough. We have clearly established how the victim was murdered. I brought the 2 murder weapons with me today. Very well. The court accepts them into evidence. Murder weapon was Gray's 2 shots fired, bears Maya's and Gray's fingerprints. Murder weapon, a small fruit knife, belongs to Faye's, bears Maya's fingerprints. The date and time of death was June 19th at 3:15 p.m. Eyewitnesses claimed to have heard 2 gunshots at this time, and 2 murder weapons, both with the defendant's fingerprints on them, huh? This does seem like an open and shut case. Naturally. This is going from bad to worse, as if the summary just now wasn't oversimplifying things to the extreme. Your Honor, feel free to slam that little gavel of yours. After all, there is no room left for doubt, is there? That is quite true, Mr. Wright. Yes, even if the face of all this, do you still wish to plead not guilty? It's the opinion of this court that if you do not adjust your plea, you stand to lose. See? Just as I promised, Mr. Phoenix Wright. You would change your plea in less than 10 minutes. What will you do, Mr. Wright? Will you change to justified self-defense? Because now would be the time to do so. This is your final chance. This is a huge decision. I'd better think of this through. If we plead justified self-defense, we would basically be confessing to murder. After the trial, Maya's life would be ruined and she'd be labeled a murderer. I can't let that happen. Your Honor, have you reached a conclusion, Mr. Wright? The defense will not change its plea. We will accept nothing short of a complete acquittal. You have sealed your fate, Mr. Phoenix Wright, detective? Yes, sir. Present the final portion of your testimony, the final strike. Horse riding or something else? Wink, wink. Yes, sir. Now, see here, proceedings are run by... Eek. Oh, yes, of course. Go ahead, detective, and give your testimony. I think the court would like to hear about the other piece of incriminating evidence. Oh, dear. Sorry, pal, but there's an even more incriminating piece of evidence. Yep.
Need this phone?
Oh, you can just toss it. Take it.
Come out.
This is the costume the defendant was wearing at the time of the crime. As you can see, it's covered in blood. The defendant attacked and killed a person who, without a doubt, was not fighting back. So this is the costume. There certainly is evidence of the back spray of blood on this. This piece directly links Maya Fey to the crime, sir. I see. The court accepts this into evidence. Clothes Maya was wearing at the time of the murder, there's blood splatter on it. Alright, Mr. Wright. Maya has fingerprints on both murder weapons and blood splatter on her clothes. Could the situation get any worse? Huh, what's wrong? You seem to be at a loss. I think this is the last piece of testimony the prosecution should have to offer. Feel free to sulk off with your tail between your legs, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Please stop calling me by my full name. It's disturbing. Sorry, pal, but there's an even more incriminating piece of evidence. Why didn't you say so in your testimony earlier? You're kind of scary today, you know, pal? Come now, Mr. Wright. There is no need for that kind of attitude in my court. Alright, just please stop glaring at me like that. Oh, we're starting to get scary to him. This is the costume the defendant was wearing at the time of the crime. Maya's costume? Yeah, she was wearing it when we arrested her. Maya. She's wearing her channeling costume today, too. Is she not allowed to wear anything else? As you can see, it's covered in blood. There's blood on the costume. Lab results show that it is the victim's blood. Itchy, itchy, itchy. So there is blood from the victim on the defendant's clothes. Definitely not good. So, were there any other clues you could glean from this piece of evidence? Well... If you must change the topic, then the good detective here must testify again. But too bad, not enough time. Let's move on. Ah yes, Miss Von Karma is perfectly correct. Now even the judge is on her side. But if I bite off more than I can chew here, what should I do? Why is Miss Von Karma suddenly putting up resistance? There must be a reason as why she suddenly threw out an objection like that. There must be something about this costume. I just have to look harder. Can I look at it? Am I allowed to look at it? No, I cannot look at it. Mr. Wright, Miss Von Karma's logic is perfect. There is no way for you to poke a hole in it. Ugh, looks like my time is up, so about the costume. This one little thing. Your Honor, actually there is something very wrong with this piece of evidence. What? What are you talking about, pal? Where is the problem you're talking about? I've come this far. There's no turning back now. The problem I have with this piece of evidence is here. Oh, there's a bullet wound.
Take that!
Ask the court to please take a look at the sleeve of this costume. The sleeve? There's a tiny hole here. A hole? But that wasn't in the report. Hold on. What's this around the hole? It smells faintly of gunpowder. Gunpowder? No one ever told me. A hole that smells of gunpowder. It looks like I found the hole I was looking for. Your Honor! The only logical conclusion you can make is that it must be a bullet hole. Order, order, order. This is a very grave matter. It's best we correct the court record first before anything else. Press the check button for details. Hold on. Yeah. Sorry about that, I guess we messed up, sir. Is she actually smiling? What else is she hiding? Pull yourself together, detective. That tiny hole doesn't change a thing. The strength of the evidence still holds. Continue with your testimony that just now was a fluke, nothing more.
Objection!
How can you say something like that? This is a huge oversight. While I agree it is a mistake on the part of the police, what Prosecutor Von Karma has said is true. The evidence still stands. If you do not find a more definitive problem with the evidence, then no way. Detective Gumshoe, please continue with your testimony. Yes, sir. The defendant attacked and killed a person who, without a doubt, was not fighting back.
Hold it!
He wasn't fighting back. How do you know if he was or wasn't? We could find no evidence that the victim put up any sort of struggle, pal. So did the murderer have a fight with the victim or not? Depending on this, the circumstances around this murder changed drastically. Ugh, we're in real trouble here now. If only I had something to prove that the victim did fight back. That Von Karma, she thinks she can decide the verdict with this testimony alone. Well, I'll find a critical contradiction to it and then I'll have her. Oh, there was the bullet hole in the thing. Okay. Oh, that would make sense. I just thought that we wouldn't be using it again, I guess. Detective Dick Gumshoe. Yes? Having you call me by my full name is kind of weird feeling. You said that my client killed a person who, without a doubt, was not fighting back. Yeah, I did. Then what, may I ask, is a bullet hole you police overlooked supposed to mean? What does it mean? I'll tell you what it means. It means that the victim had fired off a shot. Is that what it means to not fight back? Yeah, you're right. It seems you are correct. If the victim had tried to shoot the defendant, then it would change everything. Alright, the wind seems to be shifting. Huh, what is with that "are you finished yet" laugh? Are you finished yet, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Mrs. Von Karma? It seems that Maya Fey was shot by the victim. However, that is only grounds enough to support justified self-defense plea. This is correct, but I'm sure you remember, Your Honor, what the defense clearly said. They rejected justified self-defense and pleaded not guilty. Ugh. Now that you... Why, that's right. Which means the defense has yet to prove anything at all. No... Well, yes, that's true. Furthermore, just the fact that there is a bullet hole in the costume is not enough to substantiate even a plea of justified self-defense, huh? How so? Don't just stand there. Hurry up and tell the court what transpired that day, with the new information we acquired added in, of course. You want me to put together a scenario all by myself? Yes, sir. Right away, sir. Probably gonna lose this, though, because I don't have enough. During the channeling, the defendant saw her chance to stab the victim in the chest. Of course, the victim used the last of his strength to fight back, sir. While the two were fighting, the victim took out his gun. The victim took a shot, but because they were too close, he missed. The defendant then picked on the opening, took the victim's gun, and ended it. The scenario you have put together does make sense. Yes, sir. Well, Mr. Wright, on the surface it does seem to make sense. However, I won't give up that easily. Please refrain from glaring at me like that. Now then, your cross-examination, please. During the channeling, the defendant saw her chance to stab the victim in the chest. But why? There is quite a difference in height between Dr. Gray and the defendant. Add in body strength, and it would seem unlikely the defendant could have stabbed the victim. Now that you mention it, yeah, I guess. You think you can get away with such flimsy reasoning, Mr. Phoenix Wright? My FA was in the middle of a channeling, was she not? When channeling with the current channeling technique, the medium physically changes. With the nurse's build, the defendant could have easily been a match for the doctor. I don't believe it. She even studied up on the Kurain channeling technique. Kurain. Like I said before, I am perfect. About what you're talking about, I don't quite get it. Never mind. Let's continue with the testimony. Of course, the victim used the last of his strength to fight back, sir. So he was stabbed, but he said he couldn't move. It would render him unable to move. So he was stabbed, but the stab wound didn't kill him. But if you think about the blood loss, he was probably hurt pretty bad. How badly hurt would you say he was? Actually, I went to give blood the other day, and afterward I felt dizzy, lightheaded, and dizzy. I guess the damage was maybe about 10 times the dizziness. Sorry. While the two were fighting, the victim took out his gun. Where in the world did that pistol come from? It looked like the victim, Dr. Ray, had specifically bought it for that day. But a handgun? He got it off the black market about 2 days before the murder. Why did Dr. Gray bring a gun? Was he taking precautions against something? The victim took a shot, but because they were too close, he missed. So you're saying that the bullet hole in the costume was made then? Sorry, pal, but yeah, that's what I think. The two of them were already fighting when a shot was fired. Well, I'm really glad you weren't hurt. The defendant then picked up the opening, took the victim's gun, and ended it. Maya has never fired a gun before in her life. The victim had already taken off the safety. With the safety off, even an amateur like you can fire it just by pulling the trigger. Even me. I wonder. Now, do you understand? Yvonne Comer's logic is perfect. His testimony certainly makes this look very bad, but there's got to be some contradiction somewhere. And uncovered, I saw it earlier. Of course, the victim. It's this part, because it said once he was stabbed, he couldn't move. But I don't have something that says that. I'm gonna lose. Because either way I need to. Nope. Hold on. Okay, do I just have to... Okay, hold on. So I was still wrong. Hold on. Okay. Missing the tiny hole in this costume. Well, the prosecution will be the prosecution's undoing. Eh? What do you mean? This little hole has actually created a huge hole in your testimony. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. You said the two of them were fighting when the victim fired his gun at point blank. If that were true, then where is the gunpowder burn on this costume? Gunpowder burn. This is what you testified earlier. When something is shot from point blank, a burn area is left around the bullet hole. Oh, but there is not a single trace of gunpowder burn on this costume. That is a very good point. And what exactly does this mean? It means that when the shot was fired, they were standing apart from each other. I'm disappointed, Mr. Phoenix Wright. You think you can punch a hole in my logic with that? With wishy-washy thinking like that, anyone can explain anything away. Then I implore you to disprove my line of thinking. Let's see. In the middle of their fight, the victim pushed the defendant away. And it was then, when they were separated, that he fired. How was that? As if that was even possible. According to testimony, the wound from the stabbing was very severe. The victim would not have had the strength to push the defendant very far after that. Well then, that's right. The defendant must have pushed the victim away. After stabbing him, she must have put some space between the doctor and herself. And then while she was preparing to strike again, the doctor took his shot. There, that should satisfy even you. That does make an awful lot of sense. What do you think, Mr. Wright? I must be careful, I can't afford to make a mistake here. Concentrate and think. There's a fatal flaw in the argument, Your Honor. Fatal flaw? Yow! Very interesting. I would love to see where this flaw is. Show me something that contradicts my explanation. There has to be a snag in her explanation. She put some distance between them before rushing to make the final blow. When she was about to strike, the doctor took his shot. There must be a piece of evidence that contradicts the lining. Yes, you cannot shoot this low and go through her sleeve at the same time.
Take that!
This is the piece of evidence that destroys your logic. What is that? A folding screen? I would like to point the court's attention to the hole in this folding screen. It looks like you already know what I'm talking about. Who? Where? What? Mr. Wright, your explanation, please. Are these two really that clueless? The bullet went through the defendant's sleeve first, then the folding screen. It passed through at a height of approximately 8 inches off the ground, which means when the shot was fired, Maya, I mean the defendant, was not getting ready to strike, but was actually squatting low to the ground. Order, order. This changes everything. Please look at the diagram of the crime scene. The victim, Dr. Gray, was here when he fired the shot, and the bullet hit this folding screen. It hit at this location about 8 inches off the ground. At this time, the defendant was in this area. Here?
Take that!
Somewhere around here. Wait, I just realized I forgot to brush this morning. Excuse me while I freshen up. Sure. In the meantime, I want you to think about... Oh, God. Okay. Well, she had to be in front of it, so... At this time, the defendant was in this area. Point to the spot just left of the bullet hole. What is just... Yeah, don't say that to the judge. Well, at this point, he lets people say whatever they want to him, so I'm just... I'd be, like, right there.
Take that!
Okay. That's cool. Because I was never close enough to that. She was standing here near the folding screen. Wait a second. We know the defendant was close to the ground based on the height of the bullet hole. But how can you gauge the distance from that? Isn't it possible that the defendant was standing much closer to the victim? That it's impossible. But why? You, of all people, should know the answer to that question, Miss Von Karma. If she were shot from somewhere closer, there would be gunpowder burns present. However, there is nothing of the sort around the bullet hole in this costume. Curse you, Mr. Phoenix Wright. I believe it has now been proven that the defendant was standing a ways from the victim when she was shot at. But do you think this has changed the defendant's situation? Changes everything. Honestly, Your Honor, this changes everything. The prosecution has claimed the defendant was aiming to kill by stabbing. If that were true, delivering the final strike with a knife would be ideal. However, where and what was the defendant doing at that time? Squatting all the way by the folding screen? Exactly. If Maya Fey was the real murderer, why would she be by the folding screen instead of preparing to strike? Upon further consideration, it does make very little sense. Yeah, I figured there had to be a reason. Figuring things out and proving the logic behind everything is your job. Ugh. Alright, with this, the rest of the trial should be in the blast radius of disaster. I am not okay. Why do you ask? You're such a smart man, Mr. Phoenix Wright. To think that you've been able to take a completely hopeless case to this point. Now I know why Papa had a tough time with you. You amuse me. Ugh, of all the things to inherit, why did it have to be the smarmy smile? Look down, lady. Detective, how dare you damage my perfect logic? How is it my fault? You can start repairing your standing by first removing that 3-strand goatee. Oh, and the rest assured your punishment will come later. Punishment? Well then, Your Honor, I think I've had all I can take of this detective's face. I think it's time to call in the next witness. Next witness? That's gotta be Lotta. Well. The court will take a 5-minute recess. After we convene, we will hear from the next witness.